guys, welcome back to the channel. We are crappie fishing today, and we are on Taylorsville Lake in, I guess you'd call it central northern Kentucky, or just central Kentucky. But anyway, we're on Taylorsville Lake, and it is cold, as you can see from the way that I am dressed and from the water temperature. And it's dropping because I just had put the trolling motor down. So it did warm up and got above 40 degrees on the outside air, so that was really nice. And got good bluebird skies. And I was practicing for a crappie tournament this week, the Crappie Masters Kentucky Club. If you're watching this on Sunday, they had their tournament on Taylorsville yesterday, and it was a wonderful tournament. Had a good turnout. 14 boats turned out for the tournament, and it was extremely cold. I don't know exactly what the temperature was, but I know there was ice on the ramp, and I do know some teams, I think, maybe even had to break ice to get into some of the spots that they fished. So it was definitely cold. I did not venture into any icy areas. I did actually in this video. I got out there early. This was a week prior, and I actually drove through ice. The lake wasn't frozen completely over, but I was side scanning a spot, and I drove through some ice and didn't get footage of the earlier part of the day. I was driving around just trying to kind of pre-fish and maybe try to locate some kind of pattern. And this brush pile here that I'm on, I actually found it earlier in the day, and it had plenty of fish on it early in the day. So I went down towards the dam end of the lake to see if I could find any other fish, and the fish that I found down there were not nearly as good as the fish that I found on the upper end of the lake. But part of fishing is eliminating water as much as determining where you need to fish. So for the purposes of what I thought was going to be the tournament, was I was going to fish more up on the northern end of the lake, farther away from the dam. And this was Friday. Caught several fish, and the better fish that I caught was actually away from the dam. The further away from the dam I got, it seemed like I was getting better fish. And then, there's another video that I just posted yesterday for Crappie Masters. It was me and Scott Waldrop. We went fishing and just used products that from the different companies that sponsor that trail. We used their products and made a video using it, and we fished on the northern end of the lake and had a really good time. I hope you get a chance to watch that video, because I found it very entertaining, because I'm so used to having fished by myself. It was interesting having somebody else in the boat, but we had a big time fishing, got to use a lot of different products, and caught a lot of fish. So of course you would think that getting ready for the tournament that I would be fishing at the northern end of the lake or away from the dam. Well, from practice to the time of the tournament, I think the lake come up 6 to 8 feet from all the rain that we had, and it changed the whole game. Even to the baits that I used whenever I was practicing, it seemed like anything that had some chartreuse in it I could get bit on really well. And I think I've got a crappie magnet on right here in these videos, and then in the other video I used crappie magnet and Jenko and Southern Slab, and been catching them on Freaky Franks. And then I think Scott, he was using the crappie magnets and the crappie monsters and then the muddy water banks, and he was catching them good too. But tournament day came, and I did not run all the way up the creek, just because a lot of debris in the lake, and it was dark whenever I launched, so I didn't want to chance of running over something, not knowing the waters very well. So I just kind of stopped closer and ended up catching, I think, all the fish that I weighed there in one little stretch. And I ended up, I fished there for like 3 hours, and then I ran all the way up here to where I'm fishing in this video, and it was just it was really muddy, and there, as you can see, there's a lot of fish on this pile here, and they were not there. I didn't see any fish when I got up there, and I checked a couple different spots, and it just wasn't, they just weren't there. And so I ended up going back down. But for the tournament, I ended up using like baits that had a white color to them, um, and could not get bit on the chartreuse. But it was interesting that I had to change up everything that I was doing. And here, where I'm catching them on brush piles in the tournament, I was actually pretty much catching everything away from the brush pile in open water. It was relatively close to a brush pile, but it would be 25, 30 yards away from it, not really holding any structure. Just the fish were either suspended or cruising, and I would locate them. And I wanted to get film of it, but I forgot all the camera equipment, so I didn't get any film of what I was doing during the tournament. But the fish here on Taylorsville, good size. I caught in 2 days of practice and in the tournament, I think I had, I don't know, 10 fish over a pound, and then had several, the 0.8s, the 0.9s, a lot of 10-inch fish. It fished well. Now they were a lot more finicky here at Taylorsville than what they had been at Green, and I would almost say even Dale, in which we've only got to fish Dale on that one video. But it was just different, and I actually ended up having to drop on all of them because of the water clarity. I was having to get the bait so close to them. It was more efficient for me to just use the jigging pole with the egg sinker above the bait, because it seemed like I could get relatively close without spooking them too bad. And just given which in this video there was a little bit of wind. It isn't as bad there as it was earlier in the day, but there was some wind. So I just went with that method. And actually, as you can see in this video, it's relatively shallow, right at about, it looks like 14, 15 feet of water. But of course that structure is coming up to 10, 11, and 12. So once you start tossing even a 16th ounce jig, it doesn't take it as long. And these fish, they were finicky. Like they didn't want, if you move the bait once they got its attention, it would turn them off to it. So, and I even picked up more on that on the second day in the video with Scott. But a lot of times, because you can see I just don't move it, and then he comes up to it. Or a lot of times on green, I can present the bait to it, kind of bring it away from them, or even give it maybe a jigging action to entice a bite. Whereas there, if that fish, if it caught its attention and I took the bait any closer to it, a lot of times it would turn off to the bait. So just interesting, the different dynamics that the fish have. Given that you have two waterways that are pretty similar in depth and in temperature at this time of year, but the fish react a lot different. In Taylorsville, for those of you that haven't fished it, of course, like right here, you've got a huge, and I don't necessarily even think that this is a brush pile that somebody's piled up. I don't know if this is an old, I would say fence row, but it doesn't even look like that. I don't know if it's a bulldoze pile or just maybe where the river, an old log jam, or what exactly it is. It could be an old log jam. I'm not for sure exactly how old Taylorsville is, but it does kind of resemble, like, I guess if you was floating the river and you seen where the water would get up and run a bunch of logs. It kind of does resemble that. But it was stacked full of fish that day, and there's all kinds of fish in Taylorsville. It's just everywhere you'd stop, you'd see fish. It was just trying to find those better fish. But all the way around the lake, if you're on it, do be careful because there is stick-ups all the way around that lake. Sometimes on both sides. But if you stay right out in the middle, you should be pretty good. I haven't had any problems navigating it, just as long as I tried to stay right in the middle. And once you get way up in those creeks, you definitely want to be careful. But plenty of fish. If you're new to fishing or crappie fishing or live scope, Taylorsville definitely provides a target-rich environment. There's plenty of fish to target, and a lot of fun. I meant to give the spiel before I got started, and I just got into talking. But remember to, and we'll make it quick, to hit the like button, subscribe, and share the channel. Like I said, subscribers make the YouTube world go round. So we sure do appreciate that. And we've got still a ton of this footage, so enjoy it. Take notice to, I guess I should explain it a little bit better. I may have not done a really good job doing that, but of course here I'm displaying mostly the live scope and really showing you, you're seeing exactly what I'm seeing, and this is in real time, and I've meticulously taken the time to make sure that these clips are with the actual fish sketches. These are not mixed matched. I actually had the radio playing. That's part of the reason why there's no audio to it, because I like to listen to the radio while I fish, and YouTube has an issue with other people's music other than mine being on this channel. So I have to mute all of that. But using those songs, I'm actually able to make sure that I'm not presenting you with a falsity of showing you a live scope image that is not what I'm seeing. So these images that you are seeing on the live scope, that is what I'm seeing in real time, and I try to do the best job I can of making sure that I marry the hook sets from the live scope. Of course, right there, that fish had hit it, but it come up with it, and I never felt it. I seen it, and what you'll do a lot of times is if they come up with it, which using that 16th ounce jig, there's not a lot of weight, but you could tell maybe just a hair difference in whenever it comes up. Of course, you got that 1/2 ounce egg sinker that's most of your weight pulling down, but just the difference in what I'm feeling, and then that's being able to visual see it make that swirl is how I know to make that hook set. But if you look in my left hand, I have the remote control for the Garmin trolling motor, and what I'm able to do with that is with the Livescope transducer, it's mounted on the trolling motor, so I'm able to control where my Livescope is looking at all times. And then what I'll do is I always leave the power or the motor engaged, but what I do is I change the power level, and you can change it all the way down to 0. So your prop is still engaged, but it won't move whenever it's on 0. And then as I need to go forward, I can bump it up to 1, 2, and so on. And then I can also bring that speed down using that remote. So that's it. If you think of it as almost like a video game or like a controller, if I'm wanting to move forward, I'm going to give it power. And then if I need to move backwards, which I can't reverse, but a lot of times you try to go into the wind. So then that wind will kind of keep pulling you back. And then using the right and left, you can pan to the right or to the left as to what you need to see. And then in my right hand, I'll have the fishing rod. And as you get more accustomed to using it, those of you that have live scope and use this setup, or if it's something that you may look to get into, or you may just want to know kind of what I'm doing. But I will, you learn as you do it. You kind of learn a situational awareness of where you are and where your pole is, and of course working the trolling motor and using that remote, I can, as I'm panning left, using the buttons on the trolling motor, I'm constantly moving that rod left and vice versa if I'm going right. The great thing about the remote is each time you push the button, if you hold it, it'll move it faster, but if you just push the button one time for one click, it'll make one click to the right or one click to the left. Well, it takes, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's set up on 360 degrees, so it would take 360 clicks, and somebody may comment, I may be wrong on this, but I believe it'd take 360 clicks to get all the way around, so you can make very minute adjustments to what you're seeing and to that trolling motor head just off of those clicks. So is where when I use the foot pedal, or if I use the foot pedal, I don't normally do, but it's very hard to control those very minute movements. So that's kind of what I'm doing there. But thanks for watching. I don't know if I'm going to get you a video next week. I'm actually working on some online classes. Got some exciting stuff hopefully coming that I'll be able to share with you in the upcoming weeks, but I'm going to kind of keep it under my hat right now. But so I've done about 12 hours of video editing this week, working on the 2 videos. That's not counting the video taping. That is just what I've been doing on the computer with the video editing. So 12 hours on the computer for that, and been very busy with everything else. So I don't know that I'm going to make it onto the water this week. If I do, you'll have a video. If not, bear with me. I will get you some good footage. But we got a lot of cogs turning, a lot of exciting things to come with Camo Crappie Productions. So thanks for watching, and continue to tune in.